So let me get this out of the way. DJ mixers are pretty awesome. I've played on hundreds of them over thousands of hours, and I've never really had any problems. If something does go wrong, it's usually by me pressing a button, something like that. But there are a few things really wrong with DJ mixers, and I'm going to explain them in this video. Let's focus on two manufacturers, PioneerDJ and Allen&Heath. If you go into any club on the planet, you have an almost 100% chance that a mixer made by one of these two will be sat in the booth. They are industry standard. So it makes sense then, if you're getting into DJ for the first time, either as a bedroom DJ or someone who is just beginning to play gigs in front of audiences, you'd pick either a Pioneer mixer or an Allen&Heath. And to be fair, their entry-level mixers are pretty good. Pioneer have the DJM 250 Mark II. That retails for about £300 here in the UK. And Allen&Heath have the Xone 23, and that goes for around £270. As you'd expect, being entry-level mixers, they're not packed with features, but they have enough to enable you to mix two channels. The DJM 250 has two filters, but doesn't have any send and return features for external effects, whilst the Xone has a single analog filter and a send and return section. Depending on which version you get, you can use them over USB, and they're around about the same size. So that's two decent two-channel mixers, and they both sound perfectly fine. I personally love the sound of Allen&Heath's EQs and filters, and I think the filter on the Xone 23 is as good as any filter on the market. It sounds smooth and works perfectly for fading tracks out. But the Pioneer just sounds clear. High resolution, cannot complain at all. So what's the problem? Well, I'm a producer and a DJ, like many people today. And as a producer, I've bought and used many analog studio quality mixers. And when you look at these analog mixers intended for studio and live use, you start to notice where the problem is. So let's look at an Allen&Heath PA or studio mixer. We'll keep the manufacturer the same, as we know Allen&Heath make quality gear. And this is the Z14. And in just one look at it, you can see that we've got a lot of features here. 6 mono line or mic inputs, 4 stereo inputs, 3-band EQ, a high-pass filter on each channel, USB send and return, and about 9 million connections, etc, etc. So with all this in one box, you'd expect it to be expensive, right? Well, no, it's about £300, the same as the two-channel mixers that we're just looking at. So I get it, they're made for different things. You wouldn't want to DJ on one of these, and I'm pretty sure, although it is well built, it probably wouldn't withstand the abuse that DJ mixers would. But come on, something isn't right with the pricing here. And it's not just Allen&Heath, this is across the whole spectrum of mixers. You can't even use sound quality as an argument. This mixer is designed to be used in a live setting too, with perhaps a band, with a singer, a keyboard player, etc., and they're all playing through it at once. Indeed, I bet a lot of songs that will be DJ'd through the two DJ mixers will have been made on this very mixer. I used a much cheaper mixer than the Z14 for years in my studio, and my tracks still sounded pretty good, so I don't buy the sound quality argument. I think for me, the issue here is both of these products are priced at what the market is willing to pay. In the PA/production world, there's a lot of competition. I picked Allen&Heath just for comparison. There are tens, if not hundreds, of manufacturers making these types of mixers, and as such, they have to be priced competitively. Bear in mind, Allen&Heath are in the kind of mid to high range here. There are a lot of cheaper manufacturers out there. Looking at the DJ mixer world, let's be frank, Pioneer dominate to such an extent they kind of set the prices for the entire industry. There's probably a large cost difference for Pioneer in making the brand new DJM V10 in comparison to the DJM 250, but I bet it's nowhere near £2,500 more to make. They know how much people are willing to pay for a top-end mixer and will price accordingly. I bet it has very little to do with the cost of implementing features. Research and development, I know it's the same with everything. Looking at the Z10 from Allen&Heath, it costs £190. It's got 4 mono channels, 2 stereo channels, preamps, 2 auxiliary sends, USB sends through a PC or Mac interface, and yet it costs £100 or a third less than the Xone 23. I'm not knocking either manufacturer here. I use them both, I like them both, but there definitely seems to be a premium you pay for being a DJ. Whether it's the market dictating the price or economies of scale, making production mixes cheaper, there's no way around it. You pay more for less by being a DJ. The second problem with DJ mixers is also kind of around price too, but we'll focus just on their DJ mixer range here and just look at that, nothing else. First off, let's assume you've started out on the DJM 250 and you love it, but you're kind of at the stage where you've outgrown it. You still mix two tracks into each other like most other people on the planet, but you just want some more features. You want effects. Well, it looks like the DJM 350 has been discontinued. So if you want to buy a new Pioneer mixer, your best bet would be the DJM 450. This will give you a delay, a reverb, a flanger effect, a roll effect, and a few more. It will also give you a send and return. It's basically the DJM 250 with effects and a few more bells and whistles. This upgrade, however, will cost you £600. That's double the DJM 250. If you're an Allen and Heath fan like me, then the upgrade path is even more extreme. Your next upgrade after the Xone 23 is the Xone 43. This gives you 4 channels and no effects. It's basically the same mixer as the Xone 23, one analog filter and a wonderful sounding EQ, yes, but no effects. This mixer is about £550, so 250 more than the Xone 23. If you want effects, you'll have to bring your own. The next mixer in the Xone range with inbuilt effects is the PX5, and this will set you back £1,000. It's also a 4-channel mixer, but with a phenomenal and extensive set of inbuilt effects. But if you're looking to upgrade from your first Allen and Heath DJ mixer because you want some effects in your mixer, that's a £700 increase. And seemingly a lot of that is you paying for those 4 channels, which you may not actually need or want. So this is my issue here. Most people mix one record into another. They don't need 4 channels. If you want to hook up a turntable, you just flip the little switch over to phono and you can mix a turntable in, no problems. So when it comes to upgrading your mixer, you tend to get charged for things you don't really need. The Pioneer DJM 450 is the only 2-channel DJ mixer from either manufacturer with inbuilt effects. I'm discounting the Pioneer scratch mixers here that are much, much more expensive. If you just want to mix one record into another with inbuilt effects, this is it for 2-channel mixers. The DJM 750 has 4 channels. It has a few more effects like ping pong, delay and helix, but it's a cool £450 more expensive. Allen and Heath have a smaller range and are basically full of analog mixers, but they only have 2 mixers with inbuilt effects, the PX5 and the DB4 that are on sale right now. If you like to use effects in your sets, you're going to have to either pay £1,000 plus for a 4-channel mixer or buy your own effects units. Now I get why the top of the line mixers have 4 channels and above. They're designed for club use where you might have multiple decks set up all at once for any sort of situation. But again, it feels like the home user gets taxed just for being a DJ here. If you want to mix 2 tracks together, you inevitably end up paying more than you need to for 4 channels, just so you have access to more features. It feels like there's a big gap in the market here for a fully loaded 2-channel mixer with loads of effects, loads of features, loads of bells, loads of whistles, everything you could ever want, all for under £1,000. But I'm sure both manufacturers have thought about this. This is where controllers really come into play. It seems so much more logical as a home user to buy a software controller. The Pioneer DDJ range has a lot of options and access to all the effects that the software you choose has. If you're someone that likes to use standalone decks or media players at home, you're going to have to pay a premium. I'm ignoring all the other manufacturers out there, but I'm doing this for simplicity and simply because most clubs around the world use either Pioneer or Allen and Heath. I still haven't seen a club use anything else, even with popular high-end options from Denon coming into the market. I'm hoping this changes in many ways as it opens up the DJ mixer market to more competition and hopefully more innovation and competitive pricing. But in many ways, knowing what you're going to find in a DJ booth is very reassuring. I've never had a problem with a Pioneer mixer in a nightclub, and I know that's what I'm going to find there. It's just at home, where many people like to practice on a close approximation to what they'll find in the club, that you will be forced to pay a premium. And I feel that premium is too much. And it's often for features such as 4 channels that most bedroom DJs simply do not need. One thing I have to compliment Pioneer and Allen and Heath on is their sound quality and their build quality. The Pioneer range sound absolutely crystal clear. They do everything they should and they almost never fail you. The Allen and Heath range, well, I was always a little bit skeptical about a mixer making your track sound better. I was always of the opinion that a mixer should be neutral and transparent and not alter the track in any way. But when you start using those EQs and filters, my word, they just sound absolutely beautiful. I suppose then I'll finish by contradicting everything I've just said and offer a different perspective, like a complete and utter moron. Yes, DJ mixers are expensive, and you will feel like Pioneer are reaching directly into your pocket and mugging you, but they will last forever and the resale value is ridiculous. If you do buy a £300 mixer and you use it for a couple of years and decide you want to upgrade from it, you'll probably be able to sell it for about 80% of its original value, providing you look after it. And I guess in this way, you can look at them like investments, where you'll be able to recoup a large amount of what you paid for the original product in a couple of years when you want to sell it. So I know we live in a strange world where you can buy this 24-channel mixer for £125 less than this 2-channel mixer. I'm not joking, you actually can. But you should look at buying a DJ mixer like buying a car that doesn't really lose value. Yes, it's as expensive as a Range Rover, but you don't need to put fuel in it and it won't break down as much.